So good morning. Can you see the screen share? Screen share is visible.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Is screen share is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In the last class, we have learned something about the Kennedy's method of channel design. So there are two cases. Case one where discharge will be given, and the value of rugosity coefficient will be given, and the value of critical velocity ratio will be given, and the bed slope of the channel will be given. And this is the procedure you need to follow. First, assume a trial depth of flow in meters, then calculate the critical velocity by using this equation 0.55 m into d to the power of 0.64, where m is critical velocity ratio and d is nothing but the assumed depth. So next you have to find the cross-sectional area from continuity equation. So continuity equation, you know, Q is equal to A into V. So we know the discharge, given discharge, and also the velocity, which has been calculated in equation 2. So thereby you will get the cross-sectional area in meter square. So once you know the cross-sectional area and also the depth, you can calculate the bed width of the canal. And the slide slope of the canal will be generally 1/2:1. So once you calculate the area, bed width and depth, then you can calculate the perimeter of the canal. So perimeter of the canal is given by this equation, P is equal to B plus D root 5. So once you calculate the perimeter, then you have to calculate the hydraulic mean depth. So hydraulic mean depth is the ratio of R, correct? R is equal to A by P, area divided by the perimeter. So these are the equations by which you will get the hydraulic mean depth. And finally, you have to calculate the mean velocity of flow by using the Manning's equation, which is of the form V mean is equal to C root of Rs, where C is nothing but it is got from the Cutter's equation. So the constant C can be obtained by using this Cutter's equation. So once you find the mean velocity, you have to compare the values of critical velocity and mean velocity. If the values are, both the values are same, then whatever the depth assumed is correct. If not, you have to assume a suitable depth. Again, you have to redo the calculations. Again, you have to assume a suitable depth of flow. Then again, you need to calculate
screen share agila
area and also the perimeter and hydraulic mean depth and also the mean velocity. Then you have to compare the mean velocity with the critical velocity. So this is case one. So generally in the examination, the case
Excuse
one,
me, sir.
hello, pardon?
Problem ಇಲ್ಲ
screen share ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್
Screen share ಆಗಿಲ್ವಾ?
ಮಾಡ್ಯೂಲ್ಗಳು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಇದಾವೆ ಸರ್ 1 2 3 4 5.
Now it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now these are the
yes sir
step-by-step procedure for design procedure under case 1, where discharge capacity coefficient M and S will be given. So the second case where the discharge and velocity coefficient and critical velocity ratio will be given. So instead of the longitudinal bed slope of the canal, the B by D ratio will be given. The B by D ratio will be given from Woods table. So this value will be given. So now you have to calculate, you have to consider B by D is equal to some value, that is X. So thereby you will get an equation to calculate the area, that is D square into X plus 0.5. Then you need to calculate the mean critical velocity. And again, you have to substitute the value of critical velocity and area in the continuity equation. Thereby, you can find the depth of flow by using this equation. Next, knowing B and R, from the following relation, we can calculate the hydraulic mean depth. So once you know the hydraulic mean depth, you can calculate the critical velocity. Now, knowing the hydraulic mean depth and critical velocity, we can determine the bed slope of the canal by using the Kutter's equation by trial and error method. So this is a very lengthy procedure where you have the B by D ratio value. So usually in the examination, the case one will be given to you. Design procedure of Kennedy's method of channel design. Case one, where discharge, velocity coefficient, and critical velocity ratio and the slope will be given. Now, this is the design procedure for Kennedy's method of channel design. Now, there are some drawbacks in Kennedy's method of channel design. So these are known as the limitations. Limitations are rather drawbacks in Kennedy's theory. So here in Kennedy's theory, Kutter's equation is used for determining the mean velocity of flow, and hence the limitations of Kutter equations, whatever the drawbacks in Kutter equation, are incorporated in Kennedy's method of channel design. So this is one of the drawback wherein in Kennedy's method of channel design, in order to calculate the mean velocity of flow, Kutter equation will be used. So which has got some limitations. So these limitations have been incorporated in the Kennedy's method of channel design. So this is the first drawback. And Kennedy did not notice the importance of the B by D ratio. So he has given a value which has taken from a table known as Wood's table. So where the depth of flow, the ratio of bed width of the channel and the depth of flow will be given. So based on which he has calculated the mean velocity and critical velocity. And here, no equation for the bed slope of canal has been given, which may lead to various design of channel with slight variation in the bed slope. Here, no equation has been given by Kennedy's method of channel design in order to determine the longitudinal bed slope of the canal. Anyway, in case 2, where B by D ratio is given, we can calculate the slope of the bed channel, by using the Kutter's equation by trial and error method, which is not correct. And here, in Kennedy's method of channel design, the silt charge and silt grade were not defined. What is the amount of silt or total silt load, and what is the grade of the silt are not taken into consideration. And here, the value of M, that is critical velocity ratio, is decided arbitrarily, since there is no method giving for determining its value. So here, the critical velocity ratio is arbitrarily taken. So hence, this is one of the limitations. Next, this theory is aimed to design only an average regime channel. So this theory cannot be applied for a natural channel which carries heavy discharge. So it can be considered for only a small channel where the discharge is very low. Next, the design of channel by the method based on this theory involves trial and error, which is quite cumbersome. Here, in order to find the longitudinal bed slope, that is in the case 2, where you need to carry out trial and error method in order to find the longitudinal bed slope of the canal. So these are some of the drawbacks in Kennedy's method of channel design. That is, one is limitations of Kutter's equation has been incorporated here, and it did not give importance for B by D ratio, and there is no equation available to find the longitudinal bed slope of the canal, and silt load and silt grade are not properly defined, and the value of critical velocity ratio is arbitrarily considered. Next is the next method of channel design is by Lacey's channel design. Lacey's channel design, and here it is also called as Lacey's regime theory. It is also called as Lacey's regime theory. So Lacey carried out a detailed study in the designing suitable channel in alluvial soil, and he developed the regime theory and formulated a number of expressions based on his observations. And these are the silent features of Lacey's theory. So when compared to Kennedy's method of channel design, so Lacey's method of channel design is quite gives better result when compared to the Kennedy's method of channel design, because Kennedy's method of channel design, you have a number of shortcomings or limitations which have been partially overcome in Lacey's method of channel design. So according to Lacey's regime theory, in a channel constructed in alluvial soil to carry certain discharge, the bottom width depth and bed slope of the canal will undergo modification by silting and scouring till equilibrium is attained. So since all the channels which flow in the alluvial soils are natural soil, so according to Lacey, the channel will form its own cross section due to the during the course of time. The natural channel will form its own section, such as the width of the channel, the depth of the channel, and the slope of the channel. So here you can see in a channel constructed in alluvial soil to carry a certain discharge, the bottom width, the depth of flow, and bed slope of the channel will undergo modification. That means it will have modification. It will undergo modification because of the silting and scouring process till equilibrium is attained. So once the equilibrium is attained, such natural channels are called as the regime channel. A regime channel is one which has formed its own cross section during the passage of time. So it's called as a regime channel. It is not a man-made channel. It's a natural channel. It will undergo some modification by silting and scouring. So this is one of the revelations of the Lacey's method of channel design. That channel will have the freedom to form its own cross section during the course of time due to silting and scouring. Now, a regime channel is defined as a stable channel whose bed width, depth, and side slope have undergone modification by silting and scouring and are so adjusted that equilibrium is attained. That means channel will have a freedom to form its own cross section. So this is one of the first revelations of the Lacey's method of channel. Next, a channel is said to be regime when the following conditions are satisfied. That is, the channel is flowing in a unlimited incoherent alluvial of the same character as that of transported sedimented. That means the channel is flowing in the unlimited incoherent alluvium of the same character as that of transported sediment. That means whatever the scouring or silting takes place, the grade of the sediments which flow in the channel is of same. That is, it will be of alluvial only. So incoherent alluvium is a soil composed of loose granular material which can be scoured and deposited with the same ease. So that is known as incoherent alluvium. So it is a soil composed of loose granular material which can be scoured and deposited with the same ease. That means with the same velocity. Next, silt grade, that is silt size and silt charge, that is the silt concentration, is the same throughout the channel. So this is also one of the conditions for a regime channel. Next, the discharge in the channel is assumed to be constant. So these are some of the conditions to be satisfied for a regime channel. First one is it has to carry the incoherent alluvium of the same which has been transported, and the silt size and silt charge or silt grade is same throughout the channel, and the discharge in the channel remains constant, and the silt carried by flowing water in the canal is kept in suspension by the vertical currents or vertical eddies generated from the bed as well as from the sides of the channel. So this thing we have discussed. So these vertical currents or vertical eddies are caused by the frictional force which acts in the opposite direction of flow. So which creates the vertical currents at the bottom of the canal bed, and it will rise gently to the top. And this vertical currents will be responsible for keeping most of the silt under suspension. So the silt carried by the flowing water in the canal is kept in suspension by vertical eddies generated from the bed as well as from the sides of the canal. Next, the silt grade also plays an important role in controlling the regime condition of the channel. The silt factor is given by the relationship, that is by equation, that is F is equal to 1.76 times root D, where D is nothing but the diameter of the silt particle. So the silt grade, what is the grade of the silt that has been carried in the channel, can be calculated by knowing the diameter of the silt particle. So you can calculate the silt grade by using this equation. F is equal to 1.76 times root D. Now, these are some of the revelations that has been made by Lacey's method of channel design. That means Lacey has defined a channel as a regime channel, so which has got the freedom to form its own cross section. And a channel is said to be regime when these conditions are followed. First one is the same incoherent alluvial soil, that is soil composed of loose granular material, is carried along with the flowing water, and the silt grade and silt charge are assumed to be same, and the discharge is assumed to be constant, and the silt carried by the flowing water is due to the vertical currents generated from the bed as well as from the sides of the canal. And the silt grade, in order to find the silt grade, we can find the silt grade of the silt particle by using the equation F is equal to 1.7 times root d, where d is the diameter of the silt particle. Now, Lacey has given a design procedure in order to find the bed width, the depth, as well as the cross section of the alluvial channel. So that is the channel flows in alluvial soil. So this is the design procedure. First step is we have to calculate the silt factor. What is the silt factor? So that is given by the equation F is equal to 1.75 times 6 root md. M is nothing but the mean diameter of the silt particle. Next, we have to calculate the velocity, compute the velocity by using the equation V is equal to qf square divided by 140 to the power of 1 by 6 in meters per second. So next is we have to calculate the area, that is by using the continuity equation. A is equal to Q divided by V. So thereby we will get the area of cross section. Next we have to compute the perimeter. Perimeter is calculated by using the equation P is equal to 4.7 times root discharge. And next, once area and perimeters are found, then the bed width and depth of the channel section A and P are known. The side slope of the irrigation channel is usually 1/2:1. So here this is not taken for any calculation. So it is a standard side slope for an irrigation canal. It is kept as 1/2:1, and hence you can calculate the area. Area of the trapezoidal section is BD plus D square by 2, and perimeter, we know the formula, P is equal to B plus D root 5. Then by using this equation, D is equal to P minus square root of P square minus 6.944 times A divided by 3.472. So you'll get the depth of the channel. Then once you find the depth of the channel, you can calculate the bed width of the channel. Bed width of the channel is given by the equation P minus 2.236 times D. Now, the sixth step is, next we have to calculate the hydraulic mean depth. Hydraulic mean depth by using the equation R is equal to 5 by 2 V square by F, where V is the velocity and F is the silt grade. And also we have to calculate the mean hydraulic mean depth by using this equation. One equation is 5 by 2 V square by F. The other equation is R is equal to A by P, that is the area of the cross section of the canal, divided by the perimeter. So thereby we'll get the value of the hydraulic mean depth. So in Kennedy's method of channel design, we have compared the critical velocity and mean velocity. Both the values should be same. Whereas in case of Lacey's method of channel design, instead of the critical velocity and mean velocity, the hydraulic mean depth, is the area by perimeter, is taken as a variable. It's taken as a variable. Whereas in the case of Kennedy's method of channel design, the critical velocity and the mean velocity is considered as variable. Whereas in the case of Lacey's method of channel design, the hydraulic mean depth is considered as a variable. So finally, both the hydraulic mean depth, whatever the hydraulic mean depth calculated by using this equation and by this equation, should be same. So both the values of R should be same. So this will provide a numerical check for the step 1 to 6. So here, this is the design procedure for Lacey's method of channel design. So in some cases, the value of AF will be directly given. Silt factor value will be directly given. In such a case, you can skip the first step because directly the value of F will be given. If not given, the mean diameter of the silt particle will be given. So by which we can calculate the silt factor. So next we have to compute the velocity by using this equation. Once velocity is known, we can calculate the area by using the continuity equation. So next we can calculate the perimeter by using this equation. Now once you know the area and perimeter, you can find the depth of flow in the channel as well as the bed width of the channel by using these two equations. Next, finally, we can calculate the hydraulic mean depth by using this equation by pi by 2 v square by f. Then again, we need to calculate the hydraulic mean depth by using the standard equation, that is area divided by perimeter. So we have to compare the hydraulic mean depth which has been obtained in step 6 and also this one. So both should be same. Whereas in the Kennedy's method of channel design, you can see so here in the Kennedy's method of channel design, these are the given data. So we need to assume a trial depth, then we have to calculate the critical velocity, then area, and then you know the equation for area, and next we have to calculate the perimeter, then again we have to calculate the hydraulic mean depth A by P. Then once you calculate the hydraulic mean depth, you have to use the Kutter's equation to find the mean velocity, that is V is equal to C root of Rs. And if the value of velocity V mean is same as that of the V naught, the assumed depth is correct. If not, you have to repeat the calculation. Whereas in the Lacey's method of channel design, these are the steps we need to follow. That is first silt factor, then the velocity, then you have to calculate the area, next perimeter. Next, by knowing area and perimeter, we can find the depth of flow as well as the bed width of the channel, and then you can calculate the hydraulic mean depth by using this equation, and also the hydraulic mean depth by using the standard one equation. So you have to compare the hydraulic mean depth values obtained. If both the values are same, then whatever the steps that you have followed is correct. Next, finally, we have to find the longitudinal bed slope of the channel. So that is S is given by the equation f to the power of pi by 3 divided by 3340 q to the power of 1 by 6. So this equation will give you the longitudinal bed slope of the canal. So in case of Kennedy's method of channel design, so the longitudinal bed slope of the canal is got by trial and error method. Whereas in case of Lacey's method of channel design, he has developed an equation or a formula to find the longitudinal bed slope of the canal. Now these are the two standard canal designs. One is the Kennedy's method of channel design and the Lacey's method of channel design. So now here, as in the case of Kennedy's method of channel design, you have some limitations. So similarly, in Lacey's method of channel design also, you have some drawbacks or some limitations. And here, the theory does not give a clear description of physical aspects of the problem. So here the physical aspects of the problem has not been taken into consideration. That means the surrounding temperature and the evapotranspiration data and other data has not been taken into consideration while carrying out the investigation. Next, it does not define what actually governs the characteristics of an alluvial channel, because there are so many characteristics which governs a particular channel. So these things have not been taken into consideration. Next, the derivation of various formula depend upon a single factor, that is silt grade, and dependence on single factor F is not adequate. So this is one of the limitation. And there are different phases of flow on bed and sides, and hence different values of silt factor or bed and side should have been considered. So it has not been taken. And Lacey's equation do not include concentration of silt as a variable. So here the silt concentration is not taken as a variable. Here the hydraulic mean depth is taken as a variable. And Lacey did not take into account the silt left in the channel by water, that is lost in absorption which is as much as 12 to 50% of the total discharge in the channel. So whatever the silt that is deposited on the beds of the channel has not been taken into account, and the effect of silt accumulation was also ignored, and Lacey did not properly define the silt grade and silt charge, and Lacey introduced a semi-ellipse as an ideal shape of a regime channel, which is not correct. So in any design procedure, you have some advantages and disadvantages. So these are some of the limitations in Lacey's method of channel design. So, and also in Kennedy's method of channel design also you had some limitations. Here only the Lacey's method of channel design is superior to Kennedy's method of channel design is because Lacey has proposed an equation to find the longitudinal bed slope of the channel, whereas in case of Kennedy's method of channel design, we have to carry out the trial and error method to find the longitudinal bed slope of the canal. So now here this figure channel section according to Lacey's theory. So here he has assumed the channel in an elliptical shape. So which is not true. So this is also one of the limitation. So you can see an ellipse here. He has assumed, but over the period of time, the channel will have its own freedom to form its own cross section. This is the cross section, final cross section the channel has made. So that is known as a regime channel. So let us not go in detail with this figure because for your syllabus only the design procedure is there. So next class we shall solve numerical problems on Kennedy's method of channel design as well as the Lacey's method of channel design. In every examination, you have this question. Either they will ask Kennedy's method of channel design procedure, and then you will have a numerical problem on Lacey's method of channel design, or else you may be asked the design procedure of Lacey's method of channel design, and you may have a problem on Kennedy's method of channel design. Only thing is the difference is in Kennedy's method of channel design, you are going to compare the two velocities, that is critical velocity and mean velocity. If the values are same, then whatever the assumed trial depth is correct. So in case of Lacey's method of channel design, instead of the mean velocity and critical velocity, we have to compare the hydraulic mean depth by using those two equations. We have to find the hydraulic mean depth by using these two equations. So if the hydraulic mean depth are same, then whatever the design procedure is correct, then finally you can calculate the longitudinal bed slope of the canal. So next class we shall that is work out numerical problems on Kennedy's method of channel design and Lacey's method of channel design. So I'll be ending the class. Please mark your attendance if not marked. Mark only once. ಹಲೋ ಏನು ಏನ್ರಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗಿದೆ ಅವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗಿದೆ ಹ್ಮ್